We're live, people. This is it. The big match on Saturday. Everything's on the line here. Big Christmas fixes to come. Let's preview it. Let's go.
We're still loaded.
I get those goosebumps every time, yeah, 713. Through the 281, yeah, I'm riding. Why they on me? Why they on me? I'm flying. Sipping low-key. I'm sipping low-key and honest. Rider. I get those goosebumps every time. I'm around, yeah. I'm hard to make everything go fine. I get those goosebumps every time. I need the high, throw that to the side. I get those goosebumps every time, yeah. When you're not around, we can throw that to the side. I get those goosebumps every time.
Off the mugs. Yes, sir.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Loaded Mag NUFC. The big match previews, away days. We are back to discuss it all again. And heads did drop a little bit just as we were about to go live. As people know in the chat, there's some more news coming out of Newcastle United, which we'll discuss tonight. That is for sure. And our guest is waiting in the green room. But first of all, Chris, how are you on this fine Thursday evening, mate? How's things?
I was all right, mate, up until about 6 minutes ago. I was
I'm not going to lie.
No, I'm good, mate. I'm good on a personal level. Got back to playing played fussy earlier, which was nice. I haven't played for a while. And yeah, I'm off tomorrow. I've been in work today. Off tomorrow. It's my birthday tomorrow, Pete. So I'm excited. I'm excited. Yeah. So
okay.
Nice day off for me tomorrow. I did my usual, Pete. I booked me birthday off, getting all excited. I was like, "Oh, book my birthday off." Nobody else is off, just me. So I'm off on my own on my birthday.
Planned that, sure. You planned that. Don't lie.
Silver lining. My dad has got a break for a few hours in between jobs, so I'm going to go and see my dad late morning, about 11 o'clock, which would be nice. So I'll go and spend a bit of time with him. I haven't seen him for a while, so that will be good. So looking forward to that. But yeah, other than Newcastle United, I am pretty good at the moment, mate. But I'm really looking forward to obviously having Locks on this evening. We haven't had them on before, I don't believe. So it'd be nice to do a debut away days. So yeah, but really looking forward to discussing the match. And it's a must win, mate, isn't it? Must win. So I'm hoping Newcastle can deliver this weekend, so my weekend is not ruined. But Pete, how are you, mate? How's things with you?
I'm not too bad. I'm not going to lie. I'm counting down to the Christmas holidays now.
Yeah.
6 days to go. Nearly there. Working days. Just ticking them off as we go along. But no, I'm okay. I'm not going to lie. I'm excited about Saturday because I'm desperate for us to get back on the pitch, because I think we definitely need to right some wrongs. And look, the only way to do that is by getting on our guest. And it's an absolute pleasure to welcome him on for his debut. Going on from blue tinted glasses, we welcome in Locks. So, Locks, how are you, mate? Welcome.
Yeah, happy to be here. Thanks for having me, lads. Hope you're doing well. I'm all good, thanks.
Good stuff. And of course, we're going to talk all things Leicester City, that's for sure. But I just wanted to start with just your opinion, really, on Newcastle United. I mean, from the outside looking in, I think most fans outside of Newcastle thought we would, with one game a week, be pushing up there towards the top of the table. Hasn't worked out that way. Bottom half. at the moment, really out of sorts as it stands. What have you made of Newcastle United this season?
I've been surprised a little bit. I mean, I just had another look at the table, and you're only 6 points ahead of us, which is a bit of a shock, to be honest with you. With what is it, 15 games now gone. So yeah, I'm a little bit surprised. Like you alluded to, you thought, last year was always going to be a little bit difficult with the Champions League stuff going on as well. But I'm surprised that with the 1 game a week that you've struggled how you have. Your team is, as a Leicester fan, a couple of years back, we had the best team, I would say, outside the traditional Big Six. And now I look at yours and I'm like, yeah, I wish I had some of your players. So I am surprised that they are down where they are. And yeah, I thought they'd be doing much better than 12th. But I mean, going into this game as well, I've seen that you've got some injuries and stuff. I don't know if that's been a problem all year, injuries, but I know it is now.
It certainly wasn't last season. Sorry, it certainly was last season.
Yeah.
It definitely was last season. Injuries galore. But this season, it hasn't been that bad. We've had pretty much the majority of the squad to choose from, albeit Botman and Lascelles, who were on long-term ACL injuries. So the fact that a couple of injuries have crept in now are a frustration. And look, we might as well bring it up now before we get into Leicester, because the news that is coming out tonight is and yesterday, really. I mean, first of all, Callum Wilson, who's only just got back into the team, into the squad, and has played two or three or four cameos off the bench, is now out for another 2 months with the hamstring injury. So won't be back until the new year. He's put out on socials today how disappointed he is, which we all understand completely. He's not doing this on purpose. But, you can understand the frustration of Newcastle United fans from that perspective. And the news that's just broke from Craig Hope of the Daily Mail, he understands that Nick Pope has picked up an injury against Brentford at the weekend and is now a doubt for the weekend's game against Leicester. Look, Chris, I'll come to you on particularly on the Nick Pope one, because that's more recent. What do you make of that news? And how does that make us look going into Saturday, mate?
So focusing on Nick Pope primarily, yeah, it's disappointing, a little bit worrying. Pete, and everyone else who watches this channel knows I'm not Nick Pope's biggest fan. I do believe that we do need to upgrade at some point on Nick Pope. However, what I will say is that he is a significant upgrade on what we have below him. So, on the likes of Lacademos, on the likes of Dubravka, John Muzzy, Mark Gillespie. By the way, Locks, you didn't mishear me, mate. There, we've got 5 goalkeepers, 5 senior goalkeepers in the squad. So yeah, I am disappointed that Nick Pope's out, because, like I say, he's a significant upgrade on those 4 other keepers. And it does make me a little bit nervous, because that's one thing we've been lucky with this season. I would say we've not had significant injuries or long-term injuries. Obviously, we're all waiting for Sven Botman to come back, and I know, Pete, you tweeted earlier saying that Bot is nearly back, which is very exciting. I think he has been a big miss for us, but compared to last season, when we had double-figure injuries at one point, didn't we? And a lot of credit was given to Eddie Howe, in the sense that because of all those injuries, for us to end up finishing in 7th place was not bad going. However, we've not had that excuse this season, because we've done okay with injuries. In terms of Callum Wilson, mate, I'll touch on him very briefly. I did, do you know what? I did see a message Craig Hope put out earlier. It was earlier or last night. It was one of the other. Yeah, and do you know what? I do understand that Callum Wilson will be desperately disappointed, and it is a shame. And obviously, he's not doing it on purpose. I completely get that. But then at the same time, I have a lot of sympathy for myself, the other fans, because it's just frustrating. At the end of the day, business is business, and it's a business game. And Callum Wilson's getting paid a hell of a lot of money. And yes, it's a shame for him. And yes, I don't wish any bad feeling on Callum Wilson whatsoever. But ultimately, it's a results business. It's a business. And, I think fans have every right to be frustrated because this is a player that we've been missing for a hell of a long time. I think the club have been fantastic with him, offered him lots of support, got him back to a certain place. And now that he's broken down again, yes, it's a shame for Callum Wilson. But on the other hand, I think fans being frustrated and upset and disappointed is perfectly acceptable because, he's our number 9 and he's paid a significantly good amount of money, and we need him. And the fact that we're now not going to have him till, by the sounds of things, February, possibly March. I'm going to say March in my head, if I'm honest, Pete, because we've been promised many a time, it's only going to be this amount of time, and then it always ends up longer. So I've wrote him off till March now, I'll be honest. And again, it's a sad thing because he's a fantastic professional and he's such a good goal scorer. And when he plays and when he's fit, he's brilliant. But if he's not playing and he's not fit, it's not brilliant. So yeah, I'm a little bit angry, a little bit disappointed, as I'm sure Callum Wilson is. But I think fans have every right to be frustrated and upset about it, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, he got injured, I think, during the Germany training session in pre-season, and we were told he'd miss only the beginning of the season, so 3 or 4 weeks. We didn't then see him until, October, November. So who knows when he's going to be back. But look, Locks, from your perspective, no Nick Pope, our number 1 goalkeeper. You taking heart from that? You taking that as a plus for you? How do you see that from a Leicester perspective?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Leicester have been quite clinical this season. We've not had loads and loads and loads of chances per game, but we've scored in every game, I think, bar one, which was a defeat to Man United. And the chances that we've got, we've put a lot of them away. We've like I said, we've been clinical, and I think, this only helps really. I'm not sure on the shot stopping capabilities of your backups, but not having Nick Pope obviously will be a plus. Some people would say, it doesn't really matter too much, but at the end of the day, I'm sure we'd rather face whoever the backup is, Dubravka or somebody else over Nick Pope. So we'll take it. I'm sure it will give Mr. Vardy a little bit of a boost, maybe a poorer keeper than Pope to try and score against. So that'll give him a bit of cheer him up a little bit. Yeah,
definitely. Well, look, at this moment in time, looking at the league table, you're 16th in the league, 14 points on the board, as you mentioned. Only 6 points behind Newcastle United in 12th. But there's been a little bit of an upturn in results the last couple of games, and no doubt the reason for that, and get your opinions on this, is because of your new manager. So Ruud van Nistelrooy is in, Steve Cooper is out. First of all, I don't want to open a can of worms here, but happy with Steve Cooper out?
Yeah, you know I am. Yeah. I think it was probably when I saw him gone, it was probably the happiest I've been since we won the FA Cup, mate. If I'm honest with you, yeah,
Okay.
I was absolutely buzzing to see him go. Yeah.
I'm glad that there was not.
Do you want me to elaborate on
that? Okay. Any particular reasons why? And don't worry, Duo's not in the chat, so we won't need to get into the finer details in it. But just in general, just any particular reasons why it was time for him to go? What was he doing anything in particular, or not doing anything in particular that was frustrating the fan base?
Well, it's funny you mentioned Dor, actually, because I believe we're on a with Dan Potts tonight, actually, 8:00. So so that'll be interesting. But look, the one thing before I kind of go in on Cooper and why I think it was the right time just the right decision to get rid of him, I will say one thing, and he never had the fans behind him. From minute one, he just didn't, and that's the difference now that Ruud has. I would say 95% of the Leicester fan base were, as soon as they heard Ruud's name, they were like, "Yep, we'd be happy with that." When he was announced, we were all buzzing. We're getting right behind him. There's bloody fans buying turtlenecks in Leicester now, try and look like Ruud van Nistelrooy, genuinely, right? And that's one thing that he's got that Cooper never had. Now, why didn't Cooper have it? Well, I think it's a kind of couple different factors, really. Number one, people say because it was Forest, and I don't think that was the main reason. It would have played a part in some people's mind. I mean, we've had Wes Morgan, Martin O'Neill, right, in the past. I mean, they've played for Forest. They've got the links there. I think, you know, in the summer we were linked with Graham Potter. We were linked with Ruud van Nistelrooy. We were linked with I think David Moyes was in there.
Right.
And when those names, you put them names down, and then you end up with Cooper. No offense to the guy, right? Because he seems a lovely guy, but a lot of fans were really disheartened by the decision, and also we thought that it went against the caliber of manager or the type of manager that the Leicester board have looked at since probably since Craig Shakespeare left back in 2017. So we went for Claude Puel, a very possession-based football manager. Brendan Rodgers, we went down that route. When Rodgers left, we did go for Dean Smith, but that was for like 8 games, and it was obviously just to try and keep us up last minute. And then Enzo Maresca, you know, so we were going down a certain kind of type of manager and type of football, and that because that's what the owner wanted to do after we won the Premier League. We won the league, and then they thought, right, okay, we can build something here, so they went down that route. So when we saw Steve Cooper linked, you know, yes, in the Championship when he was with Forest, he did really well. He played kind of an attractive brand of football, but that never happened in the Premier League. And yes, he kept them up first year. I would say, you know, from maybe I'm a little bit narrow-minded, I would say that was because of how poor Leicester, Leeds, and Southampton were. I mean, us three, we were absolutely shocking. And, you know, the second year, with the year he got sacked, I mean, you know, that there was no progression. They didn't build in any way, shape, or form. If not, you could argue they were worse. So we kind of thought, well, yeah, if you've got Cooper on a 3-year contract, and let's say he keeps us up somehow, then what? Then what's going to happen? Because our owners are ambitious. They want to build on that, and we didn't think we would get that with Cooper. So that, along with the certain games, I mean, we set up against Everton with 3 defensive midfielders, no creativity, even though we had options on the bench. He never used to make changes until late on. I mean, let me tell you a stat, right? Steve Cooper made 47 substitutions for Leicester. 5 of them came before the 65th minute, right? Out of 47 subs. Ruud van Nistelrooy's already made 5 subs before the 65th minute in 2 games, right? So he's already matched what Ruud did. And it's quite clear that he's more proactive. And Cooper, I want to call him reactive, but I wouldn't even call him that. I mean, it was like games were already decided before the game began, in my opinion. Like when managers that we faced made tweaks during the game, he just never had any kind of response for it. So yeah, that's sorry to go into too much there, but that's why I'm not happy. That's why I was very happy that Steve Cooper left. So yeah.
No, respect it, and but I think we've kind of had our own sort of issue, Chris, with regards to Eddie Howe and substitutions. We've had those similar conversations as well. So it's something that is an issue with multiple managers. But you know, Ruud van Nistelrooy's in now. What changes has he made to the team other than those substitutions that you're seeing an improvement on? Because you've got a win and a draw in your last 2 games, looking more positive now because you're picking up points. And not only the question of what changes have there been made, do you think you'll have enough to stay up this season with lots of games still to play?
Look, I mean, people called it delusional. As soon as I heard the news that the points deduction wasn't happening, that we got away with that, I truly believed since then that we would stay up. Or sorry, that we had just enough quality to stay up.
Okay.
I did also, not to go in on him again, I also used to caveat that with if Cooper goes by Christmas. And we got in a manager that that we all kind of deemed as a slightly more competent. But I just think that the players that we have, some of them have like tremendous amounts of Premier League experience, massive amounts. And the players that don't have the experience are young, hungry players. We've not really got any coasters in the squad. They're all kind of fighting to start. I mean, we've got Jordan Ayew, who, raised some eyebrows when we signed him, but he's an English journeyman, if you want to call him that, Premier League or English football journeyman. And even he's come up with massive moments for us this season. Like he scored a late winner against Southampton after we were 2-0 down. He scored a last-minute equaliser against Ipswich. So he's provided a lot of fight and a lot of experience. And then, like I said, the younger players. I mean, Facundo Buonanotte, probably second, if not best, Leicester player this season. Incredible. He's going to the very top, in my opinion. He's just absolutely a class above. And then you look at the obvious suspects. Jamie Vardy, of course. I mean, somebody's put a comment there about he's played 3 games in 9 days. He's also scored 6 goals from 9 shots, which is ridiculous. So I think, he alone can win football matches. He comes up at the big moments. Our squad depth is iffy, and we're going to have to use that this weekend because we've also got some injuries in the midfield and suspensions and stuff like that. But yeah, I do believe we've got enough, especially with Ruud. I mean, what you asked about changes. I mean, we're kind of now in a compact back 4 when we're out of possession. We're very much more compact at the back. We've still conceded goals, of course we have, and that is due to maybe a lack of quality at the back and mistakes. But we're less vulnerable on like transitions. And it genuinely feels like it's down to the basics, like players standing in the right positions, like genuinely, because James Justin, our right back, he's been caught out all year, all season long under Steve Cooper. And in the last 2 games, he's been much better. And then the most impressive thing as well probably is attacking patterns of play, basically. We just seem to have a plan when we do go forward, multiple plans, which is really encouragement. So, yeah, I think we'll stay up. Now that we've sacked Cooper and we've got a new manager, I think we will stay up. But yeah, it will still be tough, of course. It will still be tough.
Yeah, definitely. Chris, from your perspective, what are you intrigued about seeing on Saturday against Leicester? What are you looking out for? Who are the players that sort of impressed you the most from what you've seen, particularly in the last couple of games when Ruud's taken over?
Yeah, so the players that always stand out, I mean, Jamie Vardy always stands out for me. I know people in the chat saying he's 38 and he still continues to be a threat up top. I mean, that stat, that blew my mind, actually. 6 goals from 9 shots. Really good. And obviously Buonanotte, who I thought was a really good signing, actually, because he showed glimpses of Brighton, but obviously Brighton are so overloaded in the attacking areas. I think it's a great low move for them. And it's a really, really good signing from Leicester, in order to, let him showcase his talents. And from what I've seen, the little few bits I have seen of him, he looks a really, really good player. So those 2 are the standouts for me. I mean, I think Leicester have made the right move in terms of moving Steve Cooper on, because it always felt like, to me anyway, when he went in, it always felt like not quite the right fit, if you like. And Ruud van Nistelrooy is always a risk, no doubt about it. He came. I think he did okay at PSV. Didn't he win the Dutch Cup with PSV?
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
So a bit of a risk, but at least he knows the Premier League, and he is respected. And I think sometimes you have got to take a gamble. And let's be honest, it's not like there's a huge queue of available managers out there who could come in alternatively. I think the fact that he's young. He's relatively new to management. I think it could turn out to be a really, really good move for Leicester. And let's be honest, and this is fair to say, I think, Locks, even if Ruud doesn't manage to keep you up, I think it'd be great if he kept hold of them. And I think he could do really well in the Championship and potentially bring you straight back up. I think it was a good appointment, and I think Leicester are going to be dangerous this weekend because technically. And this is the problem that we've had this season, Locks, at St James's Park. Clubs go, and I wouldn't say they see it as a free hit, but there'll be no expectation on Leicester to beat us at the weekend. So I think the players will be a little bit more relaxed and a bit like, let's just see what happens. And obviously, the fact that Newcastle are in a little bit of disarray at the moment, the fact that we could potentially be missing our number 1, I think Leicester could be dangerous. I really, really do.
Yeah, and just along with that, Paul Sprague's put in a sort of a question for you and said, will you sit back and hit us on the break? Is that how you set up? Like, what is Ruud, or how is Ruud setting you up now? And what do you expect Leicester to do against Newcastle at St James's Park?
I think it will be all about spells. To be honest with you, we won't sit back on purpose and try and play on the counter. I mean, against Brighton, we had like 55% possession. I think we had more possession than Brighton. I think it was the same for the West Ham game as well. It will be all about spells. You will put us under pressure for large parts of the game, I'm sure, but. I don't think the game plan at all will be to sit back. I mean, it will be all about when we lose the ball, get into shape quickly, try and press you, try and win the ball back. I will say as well, I've been really impressed with the press in the last 2 games under Rude. I mean, bear in mind the first game was 2 days after Rude came in. 2 days he had. I think it was 1 training session, maybe even. And there was clear improvements just off that alone, which does make you think, all right, how much power did the players have in the sacking of Cooper? Did they down tools a little bit? But there was a massive improvement. So no, I don't think the game plan will be to, it won't be a low block or anything like that. Of course, during spells there will be, but I genuinely believe we will try and take the game to you. We will try and score early as well. I think we've been really good actually, even in the last few games of Cooper. We've been really good early on, and then we kind of tailed off under Cooper. Obviously against Brighton, we kind of got better towards the end. But so I think we'll try and take the game to you. I think they'll smell blood a little bit with obviously some of your injuries and a bit of poor form. I think they will smell blood. I think you're right though, Chris. I think you said something along the lines of the players aren't expected to go there and win, so that might relax them a little bit. And I think that is the story of our December, because we've got you guys, then we've got Wolves, which of course I think is a must win, but then we've got Liverpool, we've got Man City, I think we've got Villa then. So it's a real tough run of games for us. And so I think that will kind of bring a little bit of, not relaxation, but it kind of lift a bit of pressure off, because no one's saying to the players, no fans are saying, right, we need to win this game, we need to win the next one, the one after that. I think a lot of fans that I've spoken to have said they'll be happy with 3 points out of the next 4 games, whether that's against Newcastle, whether that's against Wolves, Man City, maybe, who knows? Who knows? But I mean, going back to the game plan, I think we will try and we'll come and try and win. And genuinely, mate, if it was Steve Cooper, I think we'd come and play for a point.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting how we set up and how we play the game, because we're to be honest, we're kind of expecting you to come in and sit in and be difficult to break down, and that's been our Achilles heel. That's what we've struggled with this season. We've really struggled to break teams down, and so in that moment, that's where you could potentially hit us on the break. But I will say, and Chris, correct me if you have a different opinion on this, if you do come and press us and we do break the press, we can be devastating in that position. Well, we haven't showed it continually this season, but what we did do against Liverpool is that we showed we could hit the other way and very quickly. And that was against a almost champions-elect Liverpool team that were very, very good. So there is running the risk of that. Now, I'm not sure what your defensive record's like. I'm just going to have a look, see what conceded 30, scored 21. So conceded a fair few goals this season. What is that defensive line like for you? It says it by the number, but what are their weaknesses, do we say?
Well, the back line for the majority of the season was Wout Fass and either Yannick Vestergaard or Caleb Okoli, who's a new lad we've got in from Atalanta. Since Rude's been in, he's gone back to basics, and he's just got the back to the 2 centre backs, so Yannick Vestergaard and Connor Cody. He's dropped Wout Faes. Now, Wout Faes, he possesses more pace than any of the other centre backs in the squad. He's also better on the ball, I would say, maybe level with Vestergaard. He likes to step into midfield as well a little bit, which then leads to his biggest problem, which are mistakes. I mean, he is a walk-in mistake. He's that's why he's been dropped. I'm sure I read somewhere that he's made the most mistakes leading to goals in the Premier League. Second, just behind, I think, the Ipswich keeper, or maybe Southampton. I can't remember, but anyway, he was second.
I think it is the Ipswich keeper.
Yeah.
And his biggest problem, unfortunately, is his arrogance, his attitude. He blames everyone else. He's one of them that waves his arms when a goal goes in instead of looking at himself in the mirror, which he needs to do. And I think it's the right decision that this guy was moaning about having to play on the left side of centre back in pre-season. He moaned to a Belgium interviewer or something, saying that, well, if they keep playing me on the left, I'm going to have to look for another club or something. And we were just like, mate, you are crap. You're really crap. So I don't know where he thinks he's going, but anyway, so he's been dropped. Again, the problem is the pace. Connor Cody, Yannick Vestergaard, I mean, they're awful in terms of pace. They're really slow. Cody brings that leadership quality, and I think you've seen that so far under Ruud. And Vestergaard, in terms of playing out from the back, he's the best at the club. So, which surprises a few when I tell them that, but he is the best at playing out from the back. So, yeah, I think there's a mistake in us, which is why I don't think we'll come and sit deep for the whole 90 minutes and try and hit you on the counter, because we're just not very good at it. We make too many mistakes. We want the ball to be as far away from our centre backs as possible, because they make too many mistakes. So that's what you can expect from the back four. James Justin as well. Obviously, he's got a mistake in him, but he's been much better the last two games. And then Victor Christiansen, who's a Danish left back, he'll be starting. He likes to get high up on the pitch and provide a bit of width, while the left winger or the left-sided attacking midfielder comes inside, basically.
Interesting. Very interesting. Filled you with hope, Chris? The potential stance and how they come out, or is it worried you even more so than you were before? Where are you at?
I wouldn't say it's filled me with hope, but it's encouraging. It's encouraging. I mean, do you know what's fascinating? And it's interesting, Locke saying what he said. And this is no disrespect whatsoever, Locks. I was surprised at the fall from grace with Connor Cody.
Yeah.
Like he literally, because at one point he Wolves captain flying, ends up getting a really unusual move to Everton, like wasn't expecting it. And I spoke to a few Blues and they were reasonably happy with him. And then all of a sudden wiped out, and then ends up going to Leicester. And like I say, I'm not knocking Leicester whatsoever. But
we were in the Championship.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean. Yeah, and like, he was in the England squad. He was doing okay, seemingly. So he just literally really went down. And I must admit, Locks, the couple of times that I have seen him in the Premier League for yourselves, he does look a little bit shaky, doesn't he? Like he looks like he's lost a yard of pace. He was never blessed with loads of pace anyway. So I suppose now thinking about it, if you're going to be playing Cody and Vestergaard at the back, and I know Vestergaard also isn't the quickest centre back, it does make me feel a little bit better. I'm not going to lie.
What I would say is, as well, sorry, just to add to is, Cody might. So Caleb Okoli, he was a doubt for both games under Ruud van Nistelrooy so far.
Right.
So he does bring a bit more pace. Ruud could pick him over, and I think it would be Cody to come out. Hey, Wolfie, my man. But yeah. So if Okoli comes in, it would be Cody to come out. So I'd say it's 50-50 whether Cody starts, but Vestergaard will definitely start. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Very interesting. And look, we might as well get down to it, because what we always like to do, Locks, is set up our team. Is what we think is within our 11. So we've got Leicester squad here. I believe I've got everybody. If I've missed somebody, then I apologize. But the squad is in place here. And I would like you, if you can, to pick your 1 to 11 and formation, how they are likely to set up.
This is what I think will be the setup. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Cool. In goal would be, for me, I genuinely believe he's been the best goalkeeper in the Premier League this season, and it's Mads Hermansen. He's going to be gone in the summer. there'll be bids for him in January, I believe. He is the reason we were not in the bottom three under Steve Cooper. He saved us so many times. I think the best one I saw was the Arsenal game where we lost 4-2, but I think he won man of the match, even though he conceded 4 goals. I think he saved something like 28 shots on top, 27 shots or something like that.
Wow.
So it was ridiculous. No, not 27, sorry, 17 shots. The right back, it will be James Justin. Ricardo Pereira is the best right back at the club. However, he's got a injury until I think mid-January. So will be James Justin, and he is the only right back now at the club who's fit. It's just him and Ricardo. Hamza Chowdhury, who I know might give a few Newcastle fans some nightmares. The best part is he might play this weekend, because of injuries, but we'll see.
Wow.
We'll see. Yeah, I mean, I think we should shove him in just because it's St James's Park. He loves it. So, who do I think, Cody or Okoli? I will go right side of centre back with. I'm going to say Connor Cody. I think they'll probably go with him. Yeah, for all the reasons I just said. I mean, he brings that leadership. He's been okay under Ruud so far. Next in will be Vestergaard. Yep, for sure. Yannick Vestergaard. Again, he actually has come out that he fell out with Cooper in a bit of a confrontation at the training ground, and Cooper sent him to the bomb squad. I think Wolfie used to call it at Forest, so he had the same at Leicester. Left back will be Christiansen. Yeah, I mean, we signed him the year we went down. He went on loan to Bologna, qualified for Champions League actually as their starting left back. And he came back and they wouldn't pay the £20 million we wanted for him, so he's in the team now. Right, double pivot. Now this is tough because indeed he's injured and Samari is suspended. They would be the two, and Harry Winks is a doubt. So it will definitely be Oliver Skipp. It will definitely.
Wow, I didn't realise they were that depleted.
Yeah, so Winks has missed the last 2 games. And then today in his press conference, Ruud van Nistelrooy said that he's a doubt still. I think it was a groin problem. And then, as I said, Samari suspended. Now, next to him, oh dear. He's either going to drop someone deeper or go with Chowdhury. I'm going to say Chowdhury, mate. I'm going to say Chowdhury. I think it's going to happen. Yeah, I've just got a feeling. He's the close. He's the most. Say it again, mate.
Will it look like this, Locks?
Yes. Yeah, it will. Yeah. Well, probably Chowdhury on the right. That's the only difference. But I think he's the most like for Wilfred Ndidi. A bit of a destroyer, as you know. I know he's done a bit of destroying at St James's Park. Yeah. In the 10, it will be Facundo Buonanotte. Yeah, 100%. He'll be there. On the left, I'm going to change this actually. If you put Buonanotte off the right, El Canouche in the middle. Yeah, Canouche, number 11. In the 10, sorry.
He looks a real talent as well, doesn't he? Locks, I seen him last week, and really smart finish.
Absolutely, yeah. And when we signed him, he was 20 million from Belgium, and he was one to get excited for. He didn't really get too much game time under Cooper, partly because obviously Facundo Buonanotte had been so good. I think his natural position is the 10, which is where I've got him for this game. But the last couple of games, he's come from the left, which he's been really good from that position, kind of coming inside whilst Christiansen gets forward. I think it'll be a slightly different setup this time round, just because of injuries and because Abdul Fatawu, our right winger, he's got an ACL. He's out for the whole season, so there's no sign of him. So off the left, I think it'll be Steffi Mavididi. It could be Jordan Ayew, right? But he had he had a stinker. I mean, against Brighton, it was one of the worst performances I've seen in a Leicester shirt in some time. It was really, really poor, which was a shame because I do like him. But I think Mavididi, he's come off the bench now a couple of times and made a bit of an impact. And he played 46 games for us last season in the Championship as well. So I think he'll be given his chance now under Ruud.
I was going to ask how he's done in the Premier League because I watched him a few times in the Championship and he did look a talent.
Yeah, different gravy in the Championship. I think There's some concern. He's one of them. When he loses the ball, or if he can't beat his fullback early on, it was something that we used to accuse Harvey Barnes of actually. But when he couldn't beat his fullback early on,
don't start.
I love Harvey. I love Harvey.
We've got a question for you shortly.
Yeah, we have. Yeah,
don't bring that Barnes slander to me.
No. I love Harvey. I love Harvey. And I would take him every day of the week over Steffi Mavididi. But it's one criticism that people did used to level at him at Leicester was that when he can't beat his fullback early on, his head drops, and that's what Mavididi has been like this season. Fitness as well hasn't been great, but like I said, he made a real impact on the Brighton game when he came on. So I think he'll be given a chance. And then you already know who's going up there, mate. You don't even need to ask me. Of course, it's Mr. Vardy. Yeah, he just keeps doing it. He's a freak of nature. A freak of nature. That's the only thing I can call him.
Arguably, Locks, one of the biggest bargains in football. Arguably.
Yeah. I think we had all three. Kante, Vardy, Mahrez cost the equivalent of 3 million quid, all three of them. Wow. So in total. So yeah, absolutely. And to think he actually, I don't know if either of you have read his book at all before, but he nearly quit football in the chat with Leicester in his first year because he kept picking up injuries and not being able to get rid. And it was because he used to drink a 2-liter bottle of vodka every Friday night. And with Skittles.
That might have something to do with it.
Yeah, Skittle vodka. Skittle vodka. So the medical staff gave him a clip around the ear. Yeah, gave him a clip around the ear, and now up until kind of the last 12 months or so, he kind of avoided injuries quite often. So yeah, freak of nature. He drinks his Red Bull still. He has his omelets before the game and all of that. But he now has a what they call cryotherapy chamber in his house. He only trains 2 times a week, and then he shows up on match day and puts it in the net. So yeah,
does the business. Yeah,
yeah.
I'll tell you what, Locks. Sorry, Pete, you jump in as well, mate. I cut you up before.
Go for it.
That attacking 3 minus Vardy. I'm saying minus Vardy. Let's go attacking 4. There's a lot of pace in there, isn't there? A lot of pace. That worries me a touch.
Well, Vardy's lost a bit of pace, but his brain. Well, his brain gives him it back. I think the timing of his runs. I don't know if you saw his goal against West Ham. We scored 2 minutes in, and it took them age. It was one of them where it had to take ages to check VAR, draw the lines, and all of that because it was centimeters, and it was just a perfectly timed run, and that's what he's best at. I mean, I don't know if you've seen the interview. Actually, Haaland said that he one of his idols, and it's mad because Haaland's how old is he? 21. But he said that one of his idols is Jamie Vardy. The way he plays, the way he comes off the last man. He would, when he was at Dortmund, he would watch videos of Vardy running off the last man and learn from that. Yeah.
It sounds really weird, but I'm not surprised because his movement is sensational. It always has been, and even without his pace, he's still quick, as you said, and he might not, he might not have that extra yard or 2 of pace, but because like you said, his brain works really quickly. He finds himself in really good positions still. So the positions where the ball ends up finding him, that's because of his natural instincts to be able to find himself in the right positions in the box, and they're the kind of things that can't be taught. They're the kind of things that can't be taught, but also they're the kind of things you don't lose. You might lose your pace, you might lose a step here and there, but your natural instincts to find yourself in the box will never ever go. And even this season, like when I've seen him play, like he's still picking up positions. There were times where he could have and probably should have scored and hasn't, but there are times like you said against West Ham where he makes those right runs or just picks himself up in the box where he's finding an opportunity to score. I think, didn't he score against Tottenham just after half time, first game of the season? Yeah, I think that was very similar to that, just being in the right place at the right time. But yeah, he's always a worry, and he's scored goals at St James's Park, so I am worried about him. And I'll be honest, Chris, our centre backs did not play well last Saturday against Brentford. Burn and Shaw, and it's likely to potentially be the same to again. So it does worry me about that and having someone like Jamie Vardy in and around that mix.
And you know what, Pete, you won't be able to see this because I know you've got the screen up, but I'll just flash it up here. Lee Jones says Vardy will still be quicker than Bernard Shaw.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
It's right.
Well, he left Mark Gay. I mean, he left Mark Gahey for Dost when we played Pat, and he's not the slowest centre back. You know what I mean? So and he left him for Dost when we played them earlier in the season. So, you know, I think it's a bit of a myth. I think he's much smarter now with reserving his energy, right? He doesn't make. I mean, he used to make runs. We've all seen it when we won the Premier League that year, 2016. He would just run and run and run for 90 minutes. But now he does only run at certain times. You know, he might start a run, and if he thinks, I'm not going to get there, he'll stop. And people think that means he's lost his pace. It doesn't. He's just being smarter with it.
So I'm going to ask you really quickly, because we're going to come away from the tactics board, and then we've got some questions for you, because I know you've got to go soon.
Yeah.
And then Chris, we'll have a look at our lineup after that and see how it matches up. We may not. Let's see. But I just want to ask you, Locke. So what's the style of play? You know, is it very much the long ball over the top to Vardy, or is it played down the wings? Is it played through the middle? Like what are we likely as Newcastle fans to see on Saturday at St James's Park from you?
Yeah, I would say that it's slightly different. There will be a slight change from the other games, and the reason for that is because of Mavididi coming in. As I said, it was kind of El Khanous that was coming in off from wide, and Victor Christiansen would get forward. What you may see, though, is actually a switch in that, where Justin is the one getting high and now off the right, while Buonanotte comes inside. Buonanotte's played many games this season. Yeah, like that. And it's interesting, actually, because it's very similar to the formation or the shape that we had under Cooper. With in possession, I'm talking about with James Justin getting high, Buonanotte coming inside, and you may even then see Chowdhury kind of protecting that right side a little bit, which wasn't happening too much under Cooper, which is why we got so frustrated. Justin was isolated too much, and indeed he wasn't getting over for whatever reason, whether it was just him or instructions. Mavididi is best wide. I mean, he will provide that width now, whilst Buonanotte comes in. And trust me, James Justin, I mean, he's not the most technically gifted player, but he has some ability. I mean, in attacking areas, he's scored quite a few goals for Leicester over the last few years. He scored 2 actually against Arsenal this season. So he will provide a threat there. And I think in possession, mate, that's what you're looking at there. Really, you're looking at the two kind of number 10s in Buonanotte and El Khanous, then James Justin providing the width on that side, with Mavididi doing the same on the left. Obviously, Victor Christiansen will step in a little bit, number 16, and cover a little bit. But yeah, that is you know what we'll most likely see in terms of patterns of play. A lot of triangles. I mean, he is Dutch, Van Nistelrooy. He likes his triangles, as we know. So a lot of that. And yeah, I mean, this is what I mean, man. Without being disrespectful to Steve Cooper, it's just the football is just, even with this quality of player, which isn't amazing in the Premier League, the football is just so much more attractive than it was, 3 weeks ago. It's crazy.
Definitely, it's going to be interesting to see how it comes about. So we've got a little bit of a pattern of play there, Chris. Something to work with later on. So we'll come back to that one in just a second. But obviously, just before you go, Locks, I think there's a couple of questions, and then we'll throw you out a prediction, or we'll get your prediction before we let you go, mate. So what questions are there for Locks in the chat, mate?
Yeah, some really interesting ones, actually. So I'll start with this one, Locks. So this is from Tom Dixon. Locks, do you think you will win a trophy with Van Savoy in charge?
And does the championship count? No. Do I think we'll win the? Yeah. I mean, look, our owner is very ambitious, and he will be thinking in his head, I want Leicester to be fighting for Europe again at some point in the near future, whether that's 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. I mean, this guy did also, well, his dad, who passed away, he did say when we were in the Championship that Leicester would be in the Champions League within 5 years. And we obviously all laughed it off, and we went and won the Premier League and got to the quarterfinals of the Champions League. So I think the mindset will be the same again. We need to kind of ride this wave at the moment of being on the cusp of PSR. We could actually still get a points deduction for last year's accounts from the Championship. I think we breached there potentially. We need to ride that wave. Don't spend anything silly, although we did just spend 20 million on Oliver Skip, so that's questionable. But we need to just clear ourselves of that, and then I think the aim will be to get back, into that top half, and hopefully it is with Ruud van Nistelrooy. I mean, Leicester do best, I think, when they take risks with managers. I mean, Ranieri was a bit of a risk. A lot of people mocked it. Gary Lineker himself mocked it and said, who's that? Claudio Ranieri, what's he doing here, or something like that. Enzo Maresca, probably the biggest risk of them all. You've just been relegated to the Championship. I'd say the easiest thing to do would be to bring in, I think we were linked with Scott Parker. He's done it. He's been there and he's brought a team up. I think we were linked with Daniel Farke as well before he went to Leeds United. Again, another maybe safe option, but we went for Enzo Maresca and it paid off. So, I'd like to think that we could win a trophy, a League Cup, an FA Cup, Premier League. I don't know, but yeah, who knows? Who knows?
Yeah. Let's see now. What else shall we ask you? I'll go again to Tom Dixon, and he says, "Do you miss Harvey Barnes at Leicester, and do you think he might cause problems on the Saturday afternoon?" Now, it was interesting what you said earlier, Locks, about the fact that if he doesn't beat a man early on, it affects him later on in the game. Because it's funny, because since he's been at Newcastle, we've seen, and Pete, I think this is fair to say, we've seen Harvey Barnes have a really big impact when he comes on, but not necessarily grasp the chance when he starts. Is that something, well, first of all, do you miss Harvey Barnes? And do you think that, he will end up being a success at Newcastle, or do you think that we may end up moving him on?
I don't think he will be a big success at Newcastle. I think, that's not helped by Anthony Gordon as well. But I think, yes, I miss him. I like him. I've always liked him as a player, since, I remember he was on loan at West Brom, scoring the goals. We recalled him, and ever since then he was our left-sided winger. Problems, I suppose, sometimes with his consistency, with his kind of mentality in a game. I don't know I'm sure you're aware of the Harvey Barnes equalizer meme. Are you aware of that? Harvey Barnes, you're not aware? Oh my God. I'll send this to you after, Pete. Honestly. Yeah. Okay. It's a funny bit of commentary from when he was on loan at Barnsley, or was it West Brom? Can't remember, one of the two. And it's anyway, I'll send it to you later. You can have a look. But I think the joke is that he's always best at 1-0 down when his team's 1-0 down. He was for Leicester. So yeah, there's a little interesting fact for you. But I take him back, obviously, in a heartbeat. I think he's a great player, and I actually don't think, because from what I've heard, I don't think he wanted to leave. When we got relegated, he wanted to stay and bring us back up. It was one of them where he had to go, just like Dekin and Dewsbury Hall. He had to go for PSR reasons. We had to make some money, and he was sold along with James Maddison, of course, who did want to go, definitely wanted to go. So, it's just what I heard from people, that he did want to stay, but I'm sure he was buzzing though still to go to Newcastle. I'm not saying he wasn't. I just think he would have, if he had the option himself, I think he would have stayed for a year to bring us up.
Well, you've segued me nicely into the next question, Locks, and this is the interesting one. And Pete's going to be listening with intently to the answer to this question. Lee Jones asks you, do you think Newcastle should have signed Barnes or Maddison?
Well, unquestionably, Maddison's the better player. There's no doubt about that for me. I think James Maddison's the better player. At the time, James Maddison was linked with Newcastle, of course, and Spurs, and a lot of Leicester fans who still wanted him to go on and do well somewhere else. The fans that weren't bitter is what I'm trying to say, or toxic. They wanted him to go to Newcastle because they saw him as someone who could go to Newcastle and be the main man, not the main man, but one of the main men.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I suppose in a way he has been that at times for Tottenham, but he's never going to be the superstar. And I think he had more of a chance of being that at Newcastle. I think it was the wrong decision to go to Spurs. Absolutely unquestionable for me. I also think it was the wrong decision to go to like Man City or someone like that. I think he made the right call on that part of it by not going to a team he would never play for. But I think James Maddison does sometimes struggle with his mentality as well. And in big moments, big games. And I think maybe I'm not saying Newcastle are a small club, but in terms of the big, they're not a part of the big six. Spurs are. I think he would have been better suited at somewhere like Newcastle instead. I think it's a weird one. Do I think Maddison's a top 6 player? I do, but I don't know. It's weird. I couldn't see him. He wouldn't start at City. He wouldn't start at Arsenal. He wouldn't start at Liverpool. So maybe he's not a top 6 player. Maybe he's not. But yeah, he's definitely got quality. When he's at his best, he's got the quality to be a top 6 player.
He could have helped us get there. He could have helped. Not just get there, but sustain it. And sustain where we were. And I think for me, that's the biggest frustration that we didn't sign him, because I'm looking at Newcastle United now and we're crying out for some creative spark at the top end of the pitch for Isak, and just to be able to create more opportunities. And he would have been that guy. And we talked about it on our channel over a year ago. We said, what do you want? Do you want technicians, someone that's creative but may not run around all day for you? Or do you want just a team full of runners? And we've got effectively a team full of runners. And we haven't got that technical quality, that little spark of brilliance. We're missing it. And so we are probably now looking for a Maddison type player, which is annoying to see. But and
as well, Pete, it's frustrating because you see him when he played against City, and you see what he can do. It's those moments of brilliance, isn't it? And that makes a difference. That makes a difference.
100%.
Yeah. I've got one very quick final one. Very quick final one for you. And it's the most important one. Do you think Leicester are going to stay up this season? And who do you think you'll sign in January? And who will you let go?
The first one gone is Edouard. He's on loan. Send him back now. He's played like 8 minutes of football. I think we brought him in as a panic because Patson Daka had an injury, but he's fit now. Obviously, we've got Jamie Vardy. So I think Edouard, get him gone. It's a waste of a loan spot. I would also bring back Tom Cannon, who's on loan at Stoke from Leicester. He's doing really well at Stoke at the moment. I'd bring a striker. I'd bring him back, and it's kind of like a free extra man for depth.
Did you get him from Everton?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought you did. I thought I recognised that name. Yeah, sorry, carry
on. Yeah, Everton, yeah. He's he did quite well when he played for us in the Championship. He played probably, I don't know, if I had to guess, maybe 10 games. And I think he scored 3 goals. But he did well. He's a different type of striker we haven't got at the club at the moment. The focus has to be right back and right wing. Right wing because Abdul Fattah is injured for the season. At the moment, we've got Casey McAteer, who's from the academy. I don't think he's good enough in the Premier League. Buonanotte, of course, but he's not an out-and-out winger. I think we needed an out-and-out winger for that right side. And then the right back, because we've only got Justin at the moment. If we've still got funds, getting a centre-back, definitely someone with a little bit more pace, able to play out from the back. That should be the priority. But other than that, I mean, I know it's funny because obviously we're struggling for midfield options this weekend, but I think in midfield we are okay. Wilfred Ndidi, Sumari, Winks, Skip, El Kanouche can play there, So yeah, it's right wing. To answer your question, right wing, right back, and a centre back. They're the 3 positions. And if we get a Premier League quality player in each of them, I think we stay up quite comfortably in the end. I think we'll be probably 10 points safe, maybe something like that. If I had to guess, yeah. Yeah.
Good man. Good man.
Snap Leicester fans will snap your hands off of that. Locks that.
Absolutely.
And finally, your prediction, mate. What do you think it's going to be at 5 p.m. on Saturday night?
I'm going to say 1-1. 1-1. Yeah, I think we will come for a win. And I actually think we'll go 1-0 up. And then I just think it will get a little bit nervy towards the end. I think you'll score one. So, yeah, I'm going to say a 1-1 draw. Sorry to say, guys. Sorry.
Oh, if you go 1-0 up, Jesus Christ.
I think it will happen. Yeah, you heard it if it's Vardy. 1-0 up.
No, please no.
Celebrate the celebration off him as well. Oh, he'll be buzzing. He will be
Chris,
buzzing.
we need to discuss this in just a second, that eventuality or potential. But Locks, absolute pleasure to have you on. Great debut on the channel. Hopefully it's not the last time we have you. Just tell everyone, we've got it linked in our description anyway, but just tell everyone where they can find you, mate.
So blue tinted glasses. Leicester City fan channel. Do all sorts. Match previews, watch longs, match reviews, things like that. So if we'll have some Newcastle. We've got somebody actually who does really good like tactical analysis, really top level stuff. So after the game, if you're probably Monday or something like that, if any Newcastle fans want to have a breakdown, he'll cover all of that, the Newcastle side as well and the Leicester side. So yeah,
brilliant stuff. So make sure you get your subscriptions over there. People.
Thank you so much.
We'll let you go. Massive thanks to you, and good luck for the rest of the season after Saturday, mate.
Yeah, cheers, boys. I hope we beat you. Thanks so much. See you soon.
Take care, mate.
See you later. Great to have Locks on. Great debut and very knowledgeable Leicester fan, as you would expect on the big match preview. Chris, Locks is prediction of Leicester go 1-0 up. If their Leicester went 1-0 up and Vardy scored, just can you even imagine the reaction? Stadium, socials, us can't even. It's not even better thinking about.
Do you know what, Pete? I can't fathom it, but it wouldn't surprise me that much. I can't picture it. Don't want it to happen. But the way that things are at the moment, it would just be typical Newcastle if it happens. It just would. I know we'll probably do our predictions a bit later, but yeah. I mean, if we go 1-0 down, mate, it's an uphill battle. It is an uphill battle, especially if it's early on. Especially because I think that ground will very quickly go very toxic, and then it's an uphill battle. Really is.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Great to have Kim Cam. Great to have you in there. Get your thoughts and opinions down as well. Jeff's put in there twice Vardy equals Matt Letizia. I think for his longevity at the club. But I want to bring back the tactics board for a second, because we haven't picked the Newcastle United starting lineup, and there may well be a few changes from you, mate. So what do you think the team's going to look like, in your opinion, on Saturday? I have to say, it does say that Nick Pope's a doubt with a potential knee injury that he picked up on Saturday. It doesn't say that he's out completely. So just to drop that in there. What do you think the starting lineup will be, mate?
Oh, Martin Dubravka. Mate.
Okay, I'm going to put this out there to you, and everyone else in the chat is watching right now. Genuinely, who would you start out of Vlachodimos and Martin Dubravka? Who are you? If you had the choice between the two, who are you going with?
Me personally, I would probably go with Vlachodimos. Who do I think Eddie will go for? I think it'll be Martin Dubravka. And I've got to say, and maybe this sounds mad, Pete. Do you know what will infuriate me even more? If I see Nick Pope in goal and he's not fit, and he has a shot on him and he doesn't dive, or he looks shaky, or he doesn't come out of his goal, he doesn't, you know what I mean? I cannot cope with that. So if there is a doubt on Nick Pope, I'll be honest, I don't want him between the sticks because I'm not wholly convinced when he's fully fit of him. Now, a half-cooked Nick Pope, mate, I think it would ruin my weekend. Personally, and a few people are putting it in the chat, Pete, I'll throw it up here because I know you can't see it. Aaron Keith, Aaron Keith, sorry, Aaron. He says Vlachodimos. To coin a phrase, this will be tricky. Is Vlachodimos and Pliers in nets?
I've just clicked back on it. Just in Vlachodimos suppliers. I love that. The coin of phrase. I love it. Vlachodimos suppliers. Oh, that is absolutely brilliant. Love it.
Kim Cam, he says no Dubravka. He is a bad man. So that's Kim Cam's thoughts on that, and I can't really disagree with you, Kim Cam, I've got to say. Peter Moyle says the Greek keeper, meaning Vlachodimos. Kim Cam also says Dub's heart is not at Newcastle and he is no use anymore. Cannot disagree with that. Cannot disagree with that. But yeah, there's a bit of support there for Vlachodimos. But I think, Pete, and again, you critique away at the end, mate. You correct me, but I'm going to put Martin Dubravka in goal because that is what I think we will go with.
Okay, mate. Yep. We'll drop him in there. Throw me out the rest of your team, fella. What you go for?
Okay, I'm going to go nice, easy one. Lewis Hall at left back.
Okay.
Dan Burn, left centre back.
Okay.
Right centre back, Fabian Schär or Schär. I still like to say. No, it's Schär, isn't it? Even though I always say Schär, it is Schär. Fabian Schär. I'm hesitating.
So Trippier's back.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Because I said to you on the last post match, didn't I? That for me, I thought Trippier, even though it was only a few minutes, I could see the value of him being there, and I just wonder whether Eddie's going to maybe shake things up a bit, bring his leadership, or has Trippier got one foot out the door and we've just got to wait a few more weeks till that transfer window opens? No, do you know what? I'm going to stick with Tino. But I must admit it would not surprise me if Trippier started, but I'm going to stick with Tino.
There's an argument for Trippier to start, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
Not from a pace perspective, but just for an experience and control.
Yes.
It's a massive game. So
you
want your most experienced players playing in this game. And this is not me giving an audition for him to start the game, but you're looking at it and you're thinking you need a little bit of control. You need a little bit of a kind of a calm head in these moments, particularly if it's not going right for us. His delivery, can he make a difference from a set piece, putting the ball in the net? I don't know. These are just the things that I'm thinking. But yeah, it could well be the case. But yeah, I think it would definitely be the safe bet for me to go with Liverpool manager, because I think if they did put Trippier in, I think there'd be an argument for saying it was harsh. Yeah. I don't think Tino had the worst game on Saturday. I thought he played. I didn't think he played well when he went to left back, but I thought he played. I thought he was fine to a point at right back. But right. Throw us for USC team, mate.
Yeah. We're always in sync, aren't we, Pete? So obviously we were clearly thinking the same thing. And I think as well, we all know Eddie Howe well enough by now to know that he's a big fan of Trippier and he does like to shake things up now and again. So it certainly, I wouldn't rule it out. And I'm saying that because I hate it when we get the lineup wrong for the weekend. Right. So in the number 6, mate, it has to be Sandro Tonali. It has to be Sandro Tonali. It has to be.
I'm not going to lie. I will be fuming if he is not starting on Saturday. And it would only have to be an injury, like he's injured, for me to be annoyed that he's not starting this game.
Yeah.
He has to play. Carry on, mate.
I'm going to say Joe Linton, left centre mid. And again, the reason I'm saying that is because, well, you'll know why when I get up to the left wing position. But also the fact that Willock was nowhere to be seen in the last squad is giving me injured vibes. I'm not going to lie. We've yet to hear it, but let's see. Right centre mid, I think, will be our captain, Bruno.
Bruno Guimaraes. Okay.
Yeah. Left wing should be Anthony Gordon.
Okay.
No excuses. Get him on the pitch from the start. Get him running against James Justin. Right wing, I think, will be Jacob Murphy.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm through the middle because we've got no other fucking option. It will be Alexander Isak. I mean, we have got another option. We've got a Willis.
We've got one. But if you're asking anyhow, we haven't got another.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he won't play. So it will be Alexander Isak through the middle, and I'm more than happy with that. We want the main man playing through the middle. But that is genuinely the 11 that I think will start. The only question mark, or the biggest question mark for me, is Tino Livramento.
Okay.
A few people in the chat, by the way, Pete, again, you won't have seen this. A few people in the chat have been saying, oh, God. Niall, I've just said this. I've just read this. This is a new update. Leo, yeah, I'll read them out to you, Pete. Lee Jones says, sorry, Chris, I think Longstaff will start and Pete will be fuming. What else have we got? Niall Powell, aka Niall Laser. I still love that name. He says that Willock is supposed to be available. Niall also says J7 rumours going round that his shoulder is dislocated. Let's hope that's not true. He also says Shah needs a rocket up his arse. Fair.
He does.
Our good man Jeff, he says Trips gives you leadership and the long diagonal balls. Very true. Very true.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, this is the interesting thing, isn't it? The lineup's kind of all over the place. But Pete, you know, how far away am I there? Is that the team you want to see? Is there any changes you'd make?
No, that is pretty close to the team that I think will happen. I think if I'm going on what I think might happen in terms of a start, I personally think Nick Pope will be fit. I think he'll play. For the reasons that you said, and you probably won't be happy with it, Chris, is that I think if he can be out there, even if not 100% fit, I think they'll play Nick Pope. But for the reasons that we've said, is that although he's got his limitations and we're frustrated with him at the moment, he is still levels above the other goalkeepers. But I'll be honest with you, if he's not, we have to go with Vlachodimos. I can't see Dubravka in goal for Newcastle United again.
Can you not?
I can't. No, I just don't want to.
No, you just don't want to. I get that.
I cannot see Dubravka in goal again just because I cannot see it. I just don't want to see that. I want him gone in January. This is no disrespect. It's kind of tainting his legacy at the club. But you know my feelings when he pushed for that move to Man United, and then cried off and came back on loan, off his loan back in that January. That did it for me. We should have sold him there and then, but that's in my opinion.
Yeah. I get
that. He's never and will never win that back for me. And it doesn't help that his levels of goalkeeping has dropped dramatically. I think you made a great argument for the Kieran Trippier situation. I am inclined to agree, but I do think Livramento will start. The rest of the team, the midfield three looks as it should. The front line is where I've got a slight thing. I just think Barnes against his old club, I've just got a feeling he'll start. And I don't know whether I think Murphy will come out and I think Barnes will play. I just don't know whether it's on the right or the left.
Yeah.
I just got a feeling that
it makes sense. It does make sense, Pete.
Right.
I
don't know if he'll be bang up for that game against his old club. I don't know if it'll be the right decision to leave him on the bench for that type of game. Um,
Do you know what? Niles took the words out of my mouth. Niles put in the chat, Gordon can't be shoehorned on the right again. And I do agree. I need to see Anthony Gordon left wing. I need to see it. I feel, I mean, he's dangerous. He can do a job on the right, not knocking that, but I need to see him on that left wing. If we're going to get the best out of Anthony Gordon, if we're going to get Anthony Gordon up and running, really performing the way he did for us last season, season before, I need to see him on that left wing. I just need to.
Yeah. And I wouldn't be against Barnes, but playing on the right. I wouldn't necessarily be against it. It's not what people want. And from a balance point of view, I get it that having a natural right winger playing, but when Barnes has got 5 goals this season, he's putting the ball in the net. I just find it really hard to keep him out of the team. And I know he doesn't do the. I know he doesn't do the tracking back. I know he doesn't do the work off the ball and all the rest of that stuff. I know that, but he puts the ball in the net. And we haven't got many of those in the team right now. And I just think in a game like this against a team that we should be beating, is it the right decision to keep Barnes on the bench? And like, I'm not against him playing on the right. Like Gordon, play him on the left, fine, no problem. I've not got an issue with that. But he needs to perform, by the way. And that's the caveat.
Oh, of course he does.
Gordon really has only properly turned up against Liverpool this season. He needs a much better performance if he's going to start on the left. But Barnes, I just think we need to find him a way into the team, almost shoehorn him into the team to be in a position that if we get chances in front of goal, that you've got Isak and Barnes and Gordon in a position to put them away. Yeah, because effectively that is our strongest front three. It is our strongest front three in terms of quality and ability. Hopefully, we add to that and we bring in a right winger that can play that role, and then Barnes and Gordon can fight it out on the left. But the way it is now, I just think for this game, he might well play Barnes. Could be wrong. It's just my opinion. Maybe it's more. This is what I hope happens rather than what I think might happen. I hope he does play Barnes up against his old club because I think he'll be well up for it. And we need a fit and firing Harvey Barnes because if he gets a chance, he'll put it away for sure. And we need everything we get. So interesting. If Joe Linton's out of there, I'd be bringing Willock back in to the team, using his pace on that left hand side to maybe overlap him. But no doubt, Longstaff will probably come in instead. It might change things. But let's see. You know what, Chris? It's going to be really interesting if they come at us and they press and they do what they've been doing under Van Nistelrooy. So here with these boys pressing in here, because if Bilal Kounou is joining the press there, if we can beat that press, and Shaw, if Trippier's there or Livramento, Hall is good on the ball. Burn isn't, but you've got 3 players that can beat the press with a pass, and you can get it into these boys or further forward. I do think we've got the potential to really kill them on the counter in and behind. You know what? For me, I'm not going to lie. That for me is a dream for Isak, Cody, and
mate, and even look at the 2 holding players.
Yeah,
midfield should have a ball. It's so funny because you look at their front 3-4 and you go, there's some pace in there and real danger. And as soon as you get to the back 6, not including the goalie, you look and you go, come on, got to be getting some joy there. And I don't actually think Christiansen's a left back. I could be wrong, but I don't think he's a natural left back. So I don't know. I just look at it and I think, great opportunity.
Yeah,
you're not going to get a better. But these are the games, Pete. You've got to win at home. You've got to win. You've said it before. You've got to win this game. It's non-negotiable.
For me, like I know we were talking about, Locks thinks that Leicester might go 1-0 up and Vardy, and I know you thought the same. But for me, I can't have anything in my mind other than a first half blitz, like 1 or 2 goals, bang bang, hit them hard, hit them quick. If we can go in 1 or 2-0 up, I think that puts us right in the mix to win this game. And I think we do have a good knack of being ahead and being able to see games out. Apart from Palace, we do have a knack of being able to do that. And if we're 1 or 2 goals up, I think it puts us in the driving seat. If we're more than 1 goal up, say 2-0, 3-0, I do think we'll take the game, and it could potentially be quite comfortable after that, because Leicester will be worried about losing more the other way.
Yeah.
And we can then control the narrative. But I think the first half will be crucial. We need to hit them with a couple of goals. When we're playing well, when we're up and we're playing well, we need to take advantage of Leicester City, because we were up against West Ham, playing well, creating opportunities, and we didn't score. We got punished the other way. We cannot afford to do that. We did it against Liverpool. We played well, went 1-0 up, missed the one-on-one with Gordon, and then they punished us, and we ended up drawing the game. But really, if Gordon had scored that, it would have been a lot more comfortable. Yeah. I actually do think we'd have won the game. So we're in a position there where we need to take advantage.
Yeah.
Brentford, we scored 2 really good goals, but we gifted 2 away. You know, if we take our chances and stay solid, we can win it. So I'm just filling myself with confidence here that we can go and do it. But I do believe, you know, the first half will be crucial in this game, mate. For sure.
I agree.
Just before we go, there obviously has been some news. We talked about Nick Pope. We talked about Wilson. Some positive news with regards to Botman. Botman continues to be in full training. That picture was put out on socials today. He is due to play next week, I think, in the under-21s fixture. So that'll be his first competitive game back. I think after that, there will be then probably conversations about bringing him back into the first team squad and reintegrating him into match days, which will be a brilliant sign to get our big centre back in the team.
Absolutely.
But then there was some news tonight with regards to some players. Joe Willock has been given a fitness boost, as some have mentioned in the chat, that he could well be back. But the interesting one, I want to get your thoughts on this before we do predictions and wrap up. Sean Longstaff available for transfer in January. You know, we've talked about players needing to be sold and us needing to be better sellers. What do you make of that news that Longstaff could be up for sale and could potentially go in January?
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? I mean, tell me if I'm wrong, but Longstaff's contract runs out in June, doesn't it?
Yeah, he's got. Well, apparently, there's rumours that there could be another year extended on.
Yeah.
So he could be extended on, but not necessarily to see that contract out, but just to maximise the value in selling potentially.
Yeah. I mean, based on what we said the other day, Pete, I think it's the right decision. I really like Sean Longstaff. I think he's been a really good servant to the club, but ultimately we need to move on. In order to push on and move this team on, we said it the other night, didn't we, on the State of Play show? And if you haven't watched the State of Play show, make sure you get back and have a watch of it. It was a really, really good show. We said on there that in order to progress, we need to bring fresh blood in. We need to bring new players in. Now we've already got Tonali, we've got Bruno, we've got Joe Linton, we've got Louis Miley, we've got Willock, we've got Longstaff. That's 6 midfielders. 6 central midfielders. We can't bring in any more without someone leaving. Now, if you were to ask me who I want to leave or who I would choose to leave, it would be Longstaff or Willock or both. Now, the caveat to that is that we said, didn't we, Pete? I think Daz didn't want to hear it. We said that, you know, Bruno Guimaraes, it's probably unlikely that he'll be here in the next 18 months, 2 years. I'd be surprised if he was. I think he will be moved on eventually, as sad as that is. So arguably, you know, that could end up saving either Willock or Longstaff. But the fact that they've come out and said that Longstaff is available in January, it does not surprise me, because let's be honest, you know, we need to generate some money. The more money we generate, the more money we'll spend. I still believe we've got money to spend, regardless of whether anyone leaves. But obviously, if we do bring up, the money coming in, it means we can increase the money going out. and that's ultimately what you've got to do. You've got to trade. Tom Dixon's just asked Pete, how much would Longstaff go for? I mean, I've got a figure in mind, but let's assume he's got that trigger that year. So he's technically got 18 months left. How much do you think Newcastle can command for Sean Longstaff? The Clon lad says around 20 million. Are you in that ballpark?
Anywhere between 15 and 20 million, I think, is a fair price for him. And let's not forget, it's pure profit. So I think that would be a fair price. I think it probably be more towards the 15, depending on who's buying him. You know, if it's Nottingham Forest, for example, someone that likes to splash a little bit of money out there. Who knows? It could well be that sort of price. 15 million, maybe a little bit more, but anywhere between 15 and 20, I think, is a fair market value for him. Regardless of what we think of him, he was playing Champions League football last season. So for a team buying him, that that we anticipate and expect is lower down in the division, there you go. It actually absolutely is, and this is why it makes sense. It's because you got a young lad there that's 19 years old that can't even get into the squad. Where's his progression there, Lewis Miley? His progression will be when Longstaff moves, and what you'll probably see is for the remainder of this season that Lewis Miley will be the Longstaff replacement. So where there is a conversation about the midfielders and who comes in, Louis Miley will be in that conversation instead of Longstaff. It just makes sense. And this is what Paul Mitchell said about being better sellers, looking at the situation. We don't need to hoard all those midfielders. If there's one where we can get 15, 20 million for him and it's pure profit, so it all goes onto our books in a positive way, move him on. Doesn't matter if he's Geordie or not.
Get it in.
We have to be, keep saying it, been saying it for a year now, we have to be ruthless. We do. And, we were ruthless, although it was through gritted teeth with the likes of Minte and Anderson. We need to be the same. For me, in January, the likes of Miggy need to go. If we can get a decent deal for Trippier, it needs to go. Longstaff, he needs to go. If we can get rid of those 3 players, it means that there's potentially 3 players there that could come in. I'm not saying we will get 3 players, but it gives us scope to do that.
At least 2. At least 2. Yeah.
There you go. And I do think we need to be ruthless with it. What I will say is though, the rumours around Harvey Barnes, I don't agree that we need to move him on. I think we need to keep a player like that can make a difference, whether it's off the bench or not. In the summer, maybe a different conversation, but he's not a player that I'd be considering losing at all in January. It doesn't need to be a Barnes in, Barnes out, a right winger in. We should be able to have both. We should be able to have options there, because we're going back to the same problem. In that, Gordon gets injured. We've not got Barnes. We're having to then shoehorn Joe Linton back into that position, which we've seen he can be hit and miss in those wing positions. So for me, he won't be under consideration for sure. But the other ones that I've just mentioned, I would absolutely be considering moving them on, along with the goalkeepers. Martin Dubravka, for sure.
Sell them all. Sell them all.
But the thing about it is that if you got rid of, regardless of what you got for them, wages wise, getting them both off the books, either on loan or a permanent move elsewhere, would maybe allow for someone like a James Trafford to come in, who would be more of a viable backup and actually potentially push him, who's currently in the England squad right now. So, or another goalkeeper, who knows? But it gives the scope for us to go out and spend, but we need those players off the books and quickly. I keep saying it, mate. I genuinely think this is going to be a very, very busy month for Newcastle United. I think they're going to be wheeling and dealing. I'm convinced of it. I'm absolutely convinced of it. I really am, because I keep going back to the point. If we don't do business in terms of buying and selling, we are neglecting this squad of players. We are, and we cannot afford to do that, because we're already going stale, as Eddie Howe said. We'll be going even more stale by the end of the season if we don't add to this squad. And by adding to this squad, we need to get rid of players. It's as simple as that, mate. But
yeah. And you know what? Just to add into what you've just said,
Okay.
you know, in terms of Longstaff, Niles just put this in the chat, and I get where he's coming from. You know, he says Sean's worth 20 million, proven and English. And you know what? He's a decent age, Sean Longstaff. And you're right about the Champions League football, Pete, because to us, we look at him, don't we? And we go, I need to move it on. And I when you said 15, 20 million, that's exactly where I was. 15, 20 million, you know, probably more 15 million. But then when Niall's saying stuff like that, we've just been talking to Locks, Leicester City fan. They spent 20 million on Oliver Skip.
Yeah.
Oliver
They paid
Skip.
Sean Longstaff. Well,
Yeah.
Remember in the summer, for the transfer shows, Leicester were linked with Longstaff.
Yeah. Yeah. He'd be a
To say-
great signing for Leicester. And you
What-
put him
what
in that centre of midfield.
You,
Mate,
you
and
look at that
20
team.
million is decent money. It's decent money.
You look at that team that they've got there with the likes of Hamza
Chowdhury and Skip.
Yeah. Like he's better than both of them. So
Yeah.
he would upgrade their team instantly.
He's better than Winks.
Yeah.
You could argue he's better than Ndidi. I know Ndidi back in the day was a decent.
like
Go back a few years. Ndidi was a very, very good player. But like your argument there, Pete, Sean Longstaff was playing Champions League football not all that long ago, and it's comparable.
Yeah, absolutely. And it goes back to the same conversation around Miguel Almiron, who will potentially have a similar amount of time on his contract. Miguel Almiron and Sean Longstaff were both scoring. Yeah, hey, if it brings in, you know what? If it brings in 20 million for either of them or 15 million for either of them, then I'm happy days. Happy days, honestly. If we can recoup 30 million from those two sales, we're laughing right there. We're laughing.
Who was the other one?
Miguel Almiron.
Yeah.
If we can, and I don't think we'll get 15 million from Miguel Almiron. I think it'd probably be a little bit less. I'm more hopeful on that one. But if we could potentially get 30 million for those two being sold, like happy days. That would allow us to do some proper business on top of what money we've already got available. So I'd be buzzing at that.
Look at see what Foxy said. Imagine heads of recruitment saying, "Let's get Winks, Skip, and Longstaff. Need sacking immediately."
Hey, I don't care about it. I'm the one. I've been the one laughing to my Leicester fans to the bank, mate.
You need shifting.
But the problem is, he ain't kicked the ball. Who's he going to go to? The best you and that, Aaron, you absolutely agree with you. We both do. But the best we're going to hope for is a loan.
Alone, someone needing to bring in a left back, either backup or like an emergency loan. Bit like what we did, because we were desperate for a left back, weren't we? So we went to Villa, got him in. Caddy's on paying his wages, give him a new deal, whatever. We won't go there, but we need the club to be in desperate need of a left back, because he could still do a job, but the trouble is, as you say, Pete, he hasn't kicked the ball for so long, and this is the difficulty.
Yeah. And that's it. And we're in that position. Peter Moll, absolutely.
So true.
I enter Newcastle in January. I'm not going to say enter Newcastle, but yeah, Peter Moll, spot on as always. All of those players. I mean, Shaw's not going to go this season. We're going to see him out until
he'll get another year. He'll get another year, I think. He will.
For me, I agree with you, Peter Moll. Peter, I agree, but Murphy's staying until this contract ends. He'll be here until 2027. He ain't going anywhere for me. Not unless we get a cheap deal for him in his last year of his contract.
The only way, I mean, we'd have to hope, wouldn't we, that maybe a lower Premier League club come in and go for the gamble and go, do you know what? Let's just throw 20 million at Jacob Murphy and see if they take it. And it's one of those once in a lifetime opportunities. We've had it before previously with players and we've knocked it back. You know, where Newcastle look at it and go, I didn't really want to sell Murphy, but if decent money comes in, this is where Paul Mitchell will come in and he'd be like, get rid now. Don't hesitate. Get rid. And that for me, almost, and it's not as harsh as that, Pete, but that's kind of where I am with Harvey Barnes. If somebody comes in and puts firm, hard cash on the table, I think we have to listen if it's good money. I'm not saying we're going to be looking at this January transfer window and even the summer going, oh, do you know what we could do with shifting someone on? Let's shift Harvey Barnes on, because I agree with what you're saying. We don't want to leave ourselves short by any stretch. But I do think that Harvey Barnes is in that camp where it's like, if we get mega money, and when I say mega money, to us, 35, 40 million is mega money. If someone came in and slapped the money down and went 40 mil Harvey Barnes now, I think the club would listen. I do. I really do think they'd listen. And then I think we'd look for a right winger who could also play left wing. That's what I think we'd do. A bit like a Kudus.
Well,
Kudus.
I'm not listening to that Barnes chat because Barnes is staying.
I think he'll stay. I think he'll stay.
I'm joking. But no, honestly, I think you're right. I do. As much as I would not like Barnes to leave, if someone came in with 30+ million, I think Newcastle United would seriously consider it. But just imagine we sign Jacob Murphy for 12 million and sell him for 20. Making profit on him. That would be unbelievable.
But this is the thing. I think sometimes as a club, as a club and as a fan base, we look at our players, don't we? And go, oh shit, we want rid of him. He's no good, or he's not good enough. But club fans of other clubs will look at Jacob Murphy and go, hey, he scored a few decent goals. He's all right, him. Because you automatically look at your players, don't you, and go, oh, no good, whatever. But again, Champions League experience, starts Premier League games for Newcastle United, scores worldies against Tottenham.
A newly promoted team.
They'd be all over him. They'd be all over him.
Because
great attitude, great lad. He's a good professional. He always puts a shift in. When you watch him, you never go, oh, bloody hell, Murphy couldn't be arse running then. So in terms of attitude and personality, he's the exact type of player you'd want at your team. Up that price.
Can you know? That'll be half in every price that we give.
That'll be like 4 million.
Every price that we give it will be like half in all. Yeah. I love it. Yeah. I think there's just a few more. Lee, I agree with you. Give them all to Spurs. We'll get Maddison in return. It will do a job for us. Let's do it. Jeff said, Pete, I've seen more than 2 transfers. Well, yeah. Look, I personally. I've always said I expect to. Jeff.
2 first teamers. Have to be first teamers.
They need to come in and be ready to play regular, not on the bench for a little bit and forcing their way into the team like a Lloyd Kelly. In about that, they need to be ready to come absolutely in and play right now. Peter's talked about what you've just said about Murphy. Probably watched the highlights and think he was
all right, that Murphy.
Yeah. Hey, show them more highlights.
Great player.
I tell you what, if Eddie Howe's watching, I think he is. So Eddie, hope you're well. You need to get that highlight reel of Murphy on and get it out there. Get it out there to people that need to know. Look, we're going to wrap up now. Talk to me, Chris. What's your prediction for the game on Saturday, mate?
Right, I've given it long, hard thought. I was thinking about it before when Locks gave his prediction of 1-1 to anyone who's missed it. Our away fan, Locks, said that he believes Leicester and Newcastle will finish 1-1. I'm going to go with my gut feeling. Don't know what it is. I'm going to go for gut feeling Newcastle to win 2-1. I think it will be close. I think it will be nervy. I don't want it to be, but that's exactly what I think it'll be. I'm not opposed to the idea that Leicester could score first, but I do believe that we can come back and win it. However, I think Newcastle will go 2-0 up. Leicester will score and we'll see it out. That's how I see it.
Okay. I'm going to go. I don't know why. I'm going to go positive. I don't normally do this. I think we're going to win 3-0.
I thought you were going to say like 5 or something there.
I'm gonna say 3-0 is
3-0 is incredible.
Yeah. 3-0 is everyone else's 5-0. But that's what I'm gonna go for. I'm gonna go for 3-0. It's more hope than anything, but I expect a reaction. I want a reaction. I need a reaction from this team on Saturday. Not just because it's Leicester City, but because we bloody well need the points. So for me, I'm going to go 3-0. I'm going to stay positive. I can't wait for Saturday. I need that 3 o'clock to come now because I need Newcastle United to make our weekends a hell of a lot better. And look,
And
we
go
will be
into the
talking about
Carabao
it.
Cup with confidence. Go into the Carabao Cup with
Exactly.
confidence.
And we're going to be talking all about it Saturday night on the review
God.
of the game, the reaction. We are going to be back Saturday night. Keep an eye out, get that notification bell on, and make sure you're available to see our reaction. Because if we get that big win that we all hope we get, we're going to be very, very happy and buzzing on Saturday night. That is for sure. And go on, Chris.
Just before we go, we've got a tattoo commitment. We've got a tattoo commitment. Tom Dixon, if Newcastle ever win the league, I get a loaded mag tattoo. Tom, there, it's on the wave streams now. That's it now.
You know what? You know what? I'm with you, Tom.
Oh,
Throw me in there.
we should get a load of mag tattoo, shouldn't we?
Throw me in there. I'm with you. To Tom, if we ever win the league, you know what? If we ever win a trophy, I'm gonna put it and a caveat that if we ever win a trophy, I'm doing it. I'm doing it.
You're gonna get the year under it. You're gonna get
What's
the
that?
year under, or you're gonna get the year under the badge. The year we won a trophy.
Yeah. I'll do it.
Mate,
I've not had some for a while. So yeah, bring me that Carabao Cup this season. Gives me an excuse to go and grab some. Go and get some. But yeah, I'm with you.
I get the impression Niall's not with us.
Get out of it. Get out.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
It's the only tattoo I've got. I don't know if you can see it very well. Yeah. So I would add to that a loaded mag tattoo. I never thought of getting a loaded mag tattoo. Wow.
Yeah.
Loaded mag tattoo.
Yeah. I'm in. I'll do it. But look, people, the big preview. I was about to wrap up, but Jeff.
I'm not joining you on that one, Jeff. But good luck.
Right.
Anyway.
On that note, we're out of here, people. Thank you for tuning in. Click the likes on the way out if you haven't already. And of course, come and join us on Saturday as we will review, fingers crossed, a big win for Newcastle United. But until then, we do love playing away, as you can see.
Pete, are we getting an Isaac?
We can go in Isaac.
He's banging the goals.
Come on, Alexander.